Welcome to the Army Empire Podcast, your go-to podcast for insightful tips on investment strategies, entrepreneurship, and all things money matters. Join Bernard Alerte, your guide on this journey to financial freedom. Each episode will dive into expert advice, practical strategies, and inspiring stories to help you take control of your financial future. Whether you're an aspiring entrepreneur or a seasoned investor, we've got something for everyone. So get ready to unlock your financial potential and make your money work for you. And now, let's welcome your host, Bernard Alerte.
Hello, hello.
Hello. How are you, Mr. Bernard Alerte?
Hey, I'm like, wait a minute. Where is our host?
He is in New York delivering a check to a family that had their husband pass away.
Okay.
So he delivers checks personally. If he has to drive, take a plane, he's there for the family.
So we're about to find out another layer of what it is that our financial coach does when someone passes. What is the next step? And to know that he meets with people personally is huge.
Mm-hmm.
So we want to welcome you, Eileen. Mrs. Alerte is here, and today we have a very special episode. When I got the phone call about this episode, I am excited about this. And if you see the title below in your YouTube, on the YouTube handle, and you're watching on YouTube, you already know what it is that we're talking about, and it is When Life Hits. For those watching on Instagram, we want to say hello. I see you over here. Here on Facebook, listen, we love when you stay connected with us. We love when you grow with us and you learn with us. I put it on my story today. I shared something and I said, it's free education. And for my folks who love to study and love to learn and love to grow, you're getting free information here on all things that have to do with the financial world. When we sit here for half an hour with Bernard and we learn so much, Bernard and his guests. So say hello, tell us where you're watching from. Let's engage today as we listen to an amazing topic. Miss Eileen, we are talking about when life hits.
Mm-hmm. People refer like, how you doing? Well, I'm lifing. I've heard that a lot now, right? I'm lifing. What's going on? Yeah.
Yes. Let's see who's on. Hello, my friend. How are you? Welcome.
Hi,
Coach Eileen. This time we got a Coach Eileen. I love it. Thank you for joining us. So let's talk a little bit about this. What is it that you're really going to be sharing today?
Well, we're going to talk about something that I do not talk about. It's rare that I talk about it. I actually maybe spoken about this maybe 4 times in 13 years, 12 years.
Wow.
So when life hits, that Bernard came up with that title because I'm like, what do we name this? He said, name me When Life Hits, because when life hits, it's turmoil. It's like a hurricane. It's like a tornado. Your life just goes into a spin. When you think you're having everything in place, things is happening, you're moving forward. I just had Sophia, that's the youngest, that right now she turns 15 next week. And I just had her. She was like 18 months and I felt a lump in my breast and I went to the doctor. I thought it was maybe, hormones, menstrual something, And the doctor was freaking out. And that was weird for me when the doctor was like, okay, put on your clothes. I got to go. You got to have a biopsy right away. I'm like, I just sat down. I have a list of everything that you got to go through. Have you ever been to the doctor and go, okay, this bothers me, right? To your primary care.
Yeah.
And she was like, forget about everything. You need,
this needs to happen now.
Now. Like she put yellow on the paper, like you need to go right now. I'm like, okay.
This is what we're gonna have a conversation and guys, this is gonna be more like an interview style because there's a lot about my friend here that I want to know about that time in her life. And like you just heard her say, This is not a topic that she talks about a lot and in depth. I know that she's had some health issues, but I don't know all of the details. The point and the reason why she's on the podcast and we're having this conversation is that she's going to be able to share with us how, even though when life hit, the finances for our financial coaches didn't get hit. They didn't skip a beat. And we're going to chat about that specifically. Okay. So, how to be able to be prepared even when life hits. So, here we are in the very beginning, and she gets a diagnosis of cancer. What type of cancer? Is that your daughter right there?
Yes, that's Sophia.
Just like you said.
She turned 3 at that picture, and in the next picture on top is when I was receiving chemo. You could see all the fusion, and she was the only one I allowed to come with me, and thinking that she doesn't know what's going on, but she knew that something was wrong with mommy. She absolutely knew that. In some other pictures you could see like she's sad. She will hug me tight. That picture is, she would put flowers in my hair. She was very sensitive to what was going on, and all the other kids too.
Yeah, there's a picture right here.
That's the picture. She's holding me really tight. It was a journey. It was a journey. I had my hair wrapped because I had no hair. I lost all my hair. I had actually stage 3-4 breast cancer, HER2 positive. That's a specific.
That's what I was going to ask you. I was going to ask you if you were like stage 3 or stage 4 with the cancer.
Yeah, they had me in between. I had 8 masses in the left breast. So that was an emergency mastectomy. And if I would have known more information, I would have had the other breast removed at the same time. But because it was like a state of emergency, they already thought that it had already metastasized, which it did, but didn't go beyond the lymph nodes. Thank God. But it did move past the chest wall.
Yeah. So how long were you in this process where you're dealing with your health, you're having chemo and radiation, or just chemo?
Yes. No, I had both. I
Chemo,
had chemo, radiation, and target therapy.
Wow. And in all of that encompasses how long?
Well, it was about 8 months, but then I had many complications. So I had, to this day, last year, in 12 years, I've had 34 surgeries.
Wow.
Wow. Yeah.
Wow. So you are very used to being in the hospital and getting checkups. And, for those who have had this cancer, it's so hard for me to say now because even my husband has gone through it, and it's like they want you to go back every 6 months. You have to make sure, like, there's just life changes completely once something like this has happened to you. And if this has happened with anyone that you love, a loved one, a family member, you know what it is that we're talking about here. So how did that cancer, moving on to the next question, how did that diagnosis, this health, this life whirlwind of a hurricane, how did that affect your financial situation?
Well, we were growing. We were growing our business. We were scaling our business. We were so many good things were happening. We just had Sophia. She was like 18 months. She was turning 2 years old. And all of a sudden, this happens. And I mean, to tell you that we're blessed to be in such company that we had a team that pulled together. And we didn't skip a beat. I mean, we didn't go down, but we didn't go up, but we sustained ourselves.
Sustained ourselves. That's such a good word. Somebody put that in the comment. You have to be able to, there has to be a sustainability when life comes knocking at your door.
Yeah, and it's multifaceted because we had money. We moved into a house rental because we weren't ready to move into a house yet. When all this started to happen, we literally was moving from the Bronx to Long Island. All this happened all at the same time. And everybody, all my doctors, the doctor team that we had was extraordinary because it was a specific, unique breast cancer, and it was in the Bronx. And I didn't want to let go of none of my doctors. So we traveled almost 2 hours in traffic 3 times a week for chemo, target therapy, and radiation. So it was a lot. And we also had a holistic doctor that we trooped 3 hours to New Jersey. And that holistic doctor was not in it. That was money out of our pocket. That was
Right.
10 grand. And every time I would go see him was $1,000.
Look at that. So when you say that you didn't skip a when you say this this phrase of we didn't skip a beat, right? What does that mean? Share that with our viewers, because you
That
have
means
a
that our
holistic.
rent, our bills were always paid on time. We weren't late. We weren't in the hole. We were just continuing. Even though we were in the projection of moving and growing, we just sustained. We just stood right
Yeah.
there. And
And
that's
that's
what we
the
needed.
normal. That's
Yeah.
not the norm. People
No.
get sick and income drops. They suffer. They need assistance from other family members, just
Mhm.
other things. And that's usually what people face when it comes to health issues. But in this case, this is the testimony that we have here. Because Bernard was already in the business, he knew how to already plan and what to do so that you were able to get these doctors and get that
Mhm.
holistic doctor that you said and do
Mhm.
something a little different. Tell us a little bit more.
Also, we're partners in the business, so we helped each other. So imagine you're down. It's like we're co-CEOs, and you're down, and he held the family together. He
Yeah.
really did, and he had the support of his mentors, of Ray and Carol, and it was just a family. We came all together, and they all helped me out. I remember I was in a training, and one of what we would call a executive literally walked me to my room and tucked me in because I was so drained and sick. And I was like, I could stay here. And they were like, no, go to your hotel room. You're not doing well. And he walked me. I mean, that's how how we are as a family
Yeah.
in our businesses. So
Yeah. So here you are with a business, you're partner with your husband as the business is in a place where it wants to move to another level when it comes to growing and expanding. You have a toddler at home,
Mhm.
and you were able to sustain the finances. So for me, that has to do with mindset. What mindset do we need, the audience, all of us that have been here for the past year and a half, almost 2 years now, in the Army Empire podcast, learning from you all? What is the mindset that we need to have when sickness comes knocking at the door?
Well, first of all, you have to be prepared.
Mhm.
We were prepared. We had our insurance policies, we had our investments, we had savings, and we had that in place for just in case, for these moments. And people think you're untouchable. You don't know what's going to happen. I've been healthy all my life up until that moment. Up until that moment.
Really?
Yes.
Really?
I
Yeah,
go
yeah.
rock climbing. We would go hiking, camping. I love volleyball. I mean, I was athletic. I was active. It wasn't like I wasn't. I have 4 kids. I have 4
Right.
kids. Very active family. We were always doing something with the kids. It was amazing. But I say preparation. Preparation, the mental, and also because being an environment of not quitting, of always seeing the positive in everything, our spiritual life. I've not stepped foot into what do you call that? Those supportive groups,
Support groups, yes.
support groups. And that I told you need it. That's awesome. But my support group was my mother and her prayer warriors, my friends, my family. They would come and bring food to the house. It was God. It was God.
That is so awesome. And we need to have that. And it's rare, but it is wonderful when you have that opportunity. And this is why we're learning now. Folks, let's be prepared when it comes to putting everything in place. Have your life insurance, have all those things ready just in case. It's called protection. And the mindset that Eileen is talking about here is I believe, and you tell me, because you've walked through this. I've never walked through this, where you see folks go through that place because of this report from the doctor. And obviously it is traumatizing. They go into a place of woe is me. And now I'm just going to crawl into the bed and never get up and do anything anymore. How did you manage that? I believe that that's the mindset that you're talking about, because you kept going.
Right. Well, what kept me going was my family. I'm like, okay, if I'm not gonna be here, because I was not out the clear yet, even though through chemo and all that, because it was a very aggressive cancer. To tell you the truth, people tell me I'm rare, yeah, but it was, oh my God, I don't even know how to explain it. It was my kids. I'm like, I have to be here for them. I am their model. I'm their example. I am what they need. God gave them to me. And I'm like, God, if you're going to take me, then, have someone there for them. But if you're not going to take me, then let me be healthy. I didn't want to be sick all the time. You know what I mean? I didn't want to be alive and be disabled.
Correct.
I didn't. I am very upfront with God. I see God like my father. I can speak to him and be like very direct. I'm like, God, if you're going to take me, take me. But if you leave me here, I want to be able. I don't want to be disabled. And that was my fight, my kids. And I had Sarah, Lauren. Sarah was in college, and then Lauren was entering high school. And if it wasn't for Lauren and my husband's mom, Marie, they were the ones that took care of me. My daughter became a mom in high school. She was the one that went to the parent-teacher conferences for the little one, for Sophia. When I was able to go, they would address her and not address me. Because
that's wild.
She would go to the birthday parties and everything. And I thank God. But I ask her now, she's like, Ma, I thank God because through you, I can see strength. Like she doesn't give up. She sees the silver lining and everything, so it's incredible. I owe it all to God. My mentality is trust. I never ask God why. You know how people say, oh, they ask God, why me? Why this? I felt like I couldn't dare ask God that.
Yeah.
And I also, this may sound weird, I also thank God that it was me that got the cancer and not my children. Because I have a friend like Oki. She's been with her daughter with multiple organ transplants, and I could not take that. God knows who he gives that to.
Yes.
That's why I thank God. Oh, thank God it was me. If someone had to be sick, I thank God it was me. Because I don't know if I'll be able to see that in my children.
Right. And this is something that we all have to accept, that life is going to hit. And it's going to come knocking on our door. We don't know when, we don't know how, we don't know. But what we do know, and we need to already understand through this episode right now, we're understanding we need to be prepared. We have to have something that's going to be sustainable and have that life insurance ready. Now, I know you and I had a conversation a while back about something about life insurance, that you're able to do something if you had a stage, like pull out of that, even though you're still alive.
Yes. Our insurance policy allows you to take about 70%. About 70% of the proceeds of. So if I would have been diagnosed as stage 4, or I could have asked, because he told me you're stage 3 to 4. You have 8 masses. You have 8 masses. It metastasized. It went through your body out of the original site. I could have put in a claim and say, hey, I want to use money right now. I could take that money. Yeah. So if I had $300,000, I could take part of that and seek holistic medicine. I can go to another country, because there's other country that has treatments for cancer that we don't have in the US.
Yeah.
Or I can go to Fiji. I could take everyone to Disney World. I could do whatever I want because of that option in our policy.
And you don't find that in other life insurance policies.
No.
Everybody does that. and it's good to be prepared. So giving Bernard a call. I'm going to go ahead and put down his email address below.
Mhm.
If and up in the top, if you're watching on Instagram, this email address is where you will send him a message and say, I have learned so much through the Army Empire podcast. And this most recent thing that your wife said that I didn't know is huge. Because if something like this comes knocking on my door, then I can go ahead and at least I know that there's something there and there are options there. Yes.
And I didn't have to use that option.
You didn't even have to do that.
I could have, but I didn't.
Wow. Look at that.
Exactly.
I love this. Carrillo says, trust in the Lord with all your heart. We have to be prepared. I love that. So true. Okay, let me go back to my question. Let me go back because we said it. Okay, so if you could give us 3 tips to learn to implement now while we're still healthy, while still things are still flowing nicely, what would those 3 tips be before life hits?
Before life hits, get yourself covered for if.
Okay.
Those ifs.
So
because
find out
the
if you're not covered, you can be covered.
Yes, the average claims in our company is under 47 years old that pass away. That's young. People think, oh, get life insurance, you're gonna die in your 80s. No, the average is 47 and below. What does that tell you? It could be you.
Speechless.
Yes.
Where's Bernard now? What is he doing? Because I know we've had episodes where he has said, we had someone pass away. So you all have had these moments, and he is where doing what?
He's in New York right now delivering, as of an hour ago, he delivered a check from the company of a policy he wrote a couple of years ago. And if you remember, someone approached the person and say, hey, what you have doesn't work and you should change it. And our client spoke to Bernard, and Bernard was like, no, that is not true. I'll break it down. This is what that is. This is what you have. And he stood with it. If he didn't,
he would not be delivering this check right now.
Exactly. And and the wife is going to be able to pay off the house.
Wow.
And have some. And have a check coming to her, because Bernard is going to situate it in a way where the person's going to have a check every month for the rest of her life.
Isn't that awesome? And again, somebody who was not in their 70s or 80s. No. This is why when we talk about life insurance before, it kind of gave you like the ick, like, oh, I don't want to talk about that. It's kind of like taboo and weird. But you do have to make sure your kids have life insurance, like your young 18, 19, like everyone needs life insurance.
We also have another claim in the next week of a 29-year-old that passed away. The mother, her son passed away at 29. Wow. We're delivering that check next week.
Jesus. Yeah, that's hard. But the beauty of being the person to walk into the house and say, because they were faithful in this, you're being cared for even after the fact. That's so huge. So if you're watching this and you're saying, okay, well, I have life insurance and it's only $25,000 and I feel like I can do more, learn more, figure out more. Listen, call Bernard, get a hold of Miss Alerte so that they can switch you up and get you into what they're doing here, so that you maximize this the way you need to. And if it's just like, well, I get it through my job, which I feel like he has really taught us this. He's drilled this to us. If you have life insurance with your job, that is not enough. Nope, that's not it. Because if you lose the job tomorrow, all that you've been putting into your life insurance goes down the drain.
And not only that, if you're on comp or something happens on the job and you're on comp, you're not covered, because you have to be actively on payroll. Yes. So that's another thing people think. And then also they think when they leave their job, it's a group insurance, and they leave their job, they think they could take it. Yeah, they could take it at 3 times the premium or 4 times the premium.
Wow.
So little things that people, I'll just, when I leave, I take it with me. Yeah, at a different
It's in the fine print. It's in the fine print. They don't tell you about that.
It's a discount. That's why it's group.
Yeah. Okay, so my husband has a good question here. So it's in this because we know, and thankfully we do have it now with the life insurance. When you have cancer, it's hard to get life insurance. Was it difficult for you? Would you be able to cover somebody who?
I had insurance before, thank God, because if something was to happen, I made sure I paid that before I paid the light. That sounds crazy. When I was single, not with Bernard, I had, remember, I had 3 little ones before Bernard. And I would make sure I had that, and because it was drilled into me. You do not let go of that insurance, God forbid. So at that time, I only had like 150,000, but to me, that was like, oh my God, as a single mom, I'm gonna leave my kids something, right? And what it was, then I got married, and I had what's called a benefit rider increase. It increases every year a certain percentage. And I was like, oh, so it's automatic. So over the years, my insurance increased without me showing that I'm healthy. It automatic. So when I was diagnosed, I was already at 300,000.
So you were already covered really good. Yeah. So for folks right now who have walked through that, their best bet is to email Bernard and say, this is what I've had.
Right.
This is
because if you've had cancer, depending what it is and your health, you can qualify if it's been 10 years or more that it passed. So there is options there that you can, and even if you don't qualify for life insurance, there's other ways to set aside money to make sure for those days, for when life hits.
Yes. And I love that you guys have helped my family with that, which is amazing. Again, the topic today, guys, we are talking about when life hits. We're talking about Eileen and her journey, her health journey with cancer, and what she had to endure, and how they prepared, how the business was sustainable after this. And I want to show this next picture, and this is we're going to close. What is this picture all about here, Eileen?
This picture is when we returned to Hawaii. There's a picture of Bernard and I giving each other a kiss, and I had a head wrap.
The thing on the wrap.
Yeah, that time we went to Hawaii, I had no hair and nowhere, eyebrows, nothing. I had like a peach fuzz coming in, and I said, I'm gonna return to Hawaii with my hair super long. And if you see my hair, you can't see it all, but it was very long. And we returned when my hair was long. It was a big deal for me.
So beautiful that you overcame the cancer, obviously, but that also you were able to go back to that place. And that's so amazing that you were able to do that. That's such a blessing. Such a blessing. You have a great story, a great testimony, and I love what God has done in your life. And I love.
And God continues to do, because I not everybody knows this, but this past December, 2 days before Christmas, I was diagnosed again with cancer. Yeah, a lot of people don't know this, but I was diagnosed again with cancer. It was a rare cancer in a gland, and thank God it was able to surgically remove. I didn't need radiation. I didn't need chemo. They thought I was going to need radiation, but I was praying, God, please, I don't want to go through this again. And he did a miracle there. And I'm telling you, it's like, 90, it feels like yesterday, because Christmas. Imagine, I told the kids, I'm like, babe, we're not going to tell the kids nothing, because I don't want to spoil Christmas until after Christmas.
Yeah, and you had us praying, and we were praying that, God would make a way, and he would just take care of that situation really quickly. And thankfully he did. But again, it's that thing about being prepared. So you are the perfect person to talk about this. When life hits, what a subject to talk about. When life hits, you've seen it, you've walked it, you walked through this journey, and you know what the steps are that you need to do. And your husband, as the spouse, being there, being available, and having all of the knowledge that you have with finances. Now,
I say one more thing? Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
go for it. No, I was going to say, now we can get our education and go to you all for that mentorship that we need.
Yeah, just to tell you the recovery time of the business, we reached a milestone in our business, right, and income, and Bernard goes, Eileen, when did you get surgery? When you had cancer, when was the surgery? And I said it was August 8th. He goes, do you know what today is? And I said, no, why? What's the significance? And he said, today is 2 years exactly that you had cancer and they removed it. And I said, oh, wow. And that day was the day where we crossed over 6 figures. And it was just a blessing. I'm like, wow.
In the business. So the business went to another level.
It grew. Remember, I've been in and out of surgeries, but it was only 2 years after. And in God's mercy and God's glory, God put us back in place, back on track.
Back on track. The goal was met. There was a goal that was met just 2 years after, where you're in a place where anyone else would be like, this is a dark place. Get me out of here. I don't want to be here. And you see growth, and there's such a beautiful testimony. This is what this is what it looks like when you are prepared. This right here, this entire conversation of 30 minutes, this is what it looks like when you are prepared for when life hits. Eileen, this was a great episode. I believe this is going to bless a lot of people. So for those watching on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook, share this with somebody who may be going through a journey. And even if it's not with the person who may be sick, send this to their spouse, send it to their parents so that they can help maneuver things and they too can be prepared for when life hits. Thank you, Eileen.
You're welcome.
You are a champ. You are a champ. And like Oki said, listen, God is good, and we thank God that you are doing well, Eileen. That's beautiful. You have an army around you. That's fantastic. An army around you here at the Army Empire podcast. It's so fitting. All right, Eileen, thank you for joining us. Please send our love to our coach, to Bernard. We to see him next Tuesday. You guys, right here, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe. Hit that notification button so you know every time that we are live. So many great things are ahead and in store for us. So we will see you next Tuesday right here. Thank you, Eileen.
Bye. Thank you. Bye, guys.
Yes. God rocks. Yes, he does. He did it for her. He'll do it for you, and he'll do it for the person that's watching. We love you all. Bye-bye.
Thanks for tuning in to the Army Empire podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe and share it with your friends. Join us next week for another exciting edition, and until then, keep building your empire.